Alright guys, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about U.S. History TEK SE 24A. So 24A is describe how the characteristics and issues of U.S. history have been reflected in various genres of art, music, film, and literature. So basically what's going on in those times can be reflected back into our arts, our music, our art, visual art, or literature. So progressive era, we get Upton Sinclair's The Jungle, and he's writing about the conditions of meatpacking plants, and that's going to spur us to do like the Food and Drug Act and efforts to try to clean up how our food is produced and supplied to us, because it's a book that's pretty nasty about all the rats and poison and all the other things that end up in our meat. 1920s, we see a growth. We have the jazz era, we have the Harlem Renaissance. We see, we call it the Roaring Twenties. We have F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby. All these are kind of reflection of what's happening during that time. After that, we have the Great Depression. We have Dorothea Lange, her photography, where she's taking pictures across the country and including in our area, showing the conditions of the Great Depression. Books like The Grapes of Wrath, showing the struggles and difficulties during this time. And then we move on from that. We get into after World War II, we come into the Cold War, and we start to see a rebellious nature within the Beat generation and with rock and roll that's kind of challenging the status quo or the traditional values of what's in the early 50s. In the 60s, we start to see a counterculture, and it's a hippie generation, all this moving as a pushback against things like the war in Vietnam at the time as well. So as you're seeing the different things that are occurring, as we've talked about over the year, this is this essay is kind of stressing that you kind of see how does arts and literature and music reflect in that time period. And there's a lot of music from the 60s that definitely shows you the opposition to war, or what is it like in war, or we need peace, or the struggles within those who are fighting in Vietnam. Those kind of things tend to come out during times such as war, or if it's a great, economic growth, like in the Roaring Twenties, it may be something that's more creating the opportunity for new things to come up, like jazz. So hopefully that helps you with 24.